At this point, is there anyone who can even oppose Tesla? How might Tesla's investors be impacted by this rivalry? To find out more, keep watching. Kathy Wood, the CEO of ARK Invest, highlights the significance of accepting this shift in her audacious vision of a world where electric vehicles rule. We'll see in the next few days how Tesla can grow your money along with other bulls in the company. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to Tesla Stock News before continuing. According to information obtained from a well-known Tesla investor, sales of electric vehicles are predicted to skyrocket in 2022 in comparison to earlier years. With a prognosis for the industry, the International Energy Agency, IEA, has published a new research on global EV sales. The most recent data indicates that a 35% increase in sales is anticipated in 2023. 10 million electric vehicles were sold worldwide in 2022. 14 million are expected to be sold in 2023, increasing the industry's market share from 14% to 18% internationally. With 60% of all electric car sales in China in 2022, the country continues to be the market leader in EVs. The trend is heading in the right direction, even though the US and Europe still have a ways to go to catch up. In the long run, the IEA projects that by 2030, the share of the EV market would increase to 35%, with the US expected to reach 20% and Europe aiming for 25%. It is anticipated that China will continue to hold a 40% market share. Still, there are big differences between the IEA's forecasts and the legislative objectives in the US and Europe. While Europe intends to have zero carbon emissions by 2035, the Biden administration wants 50% of all automobiles sold in the US to be zero-emission vehicles by 2030. There are obstacles and doubts regarding the future of electric vehicles in bridging these gaps. The globe is waking up to the advantages of renewable energy, and the switch to electric vehicles is happening quickly. For instance, Australia has put laws into place to encourage the purchase and use of electric vehicles. Analyst forecasts differ, and it's still unclear what the future holds for EVs. We'll examine these forecasts and speculate about what the future might hold for electric cars in this report. Three significant markets have been driving the extraordinary increase in sales of electric cars. The main actors in this revolution are China, Europe, and the US. With 60% of all electric car sales expected worldwide in 2022, China has emerged as the leader in this regard. Following closely behind were the United States and Europe, whose respective markets saw notable growth of 15% and 55%. Sales of electric cars increased by almost 60% globally last year, breaking the 10 million barrier for the first time. According to a recent International Energy Agency analysis, this spike indicates that 1 in every 7 passenger cars purchased globally in 2022 was an electric vehicle. Over 16.5 million electric cars were on the road by the end of 2021, and estimates suggest that by 2030, there would be almost 350 million electric automobiles worldwide. However, in order to achieve this expansion, efforts must be made to secure essential mineral sources and diversify the battery production industry. These steps are required to reduce the possibility of future price hikes and supply constraints. The good news is that electric car costs are predicted to drop dramatically, maybe cutting them in half from their current range. Customers are probably going to become even more interested in electric vehicles as a result of this price drop. Many people are aware of the many advantages that electric automobiles already have over conventional vehicles with internal combustion engines. It begs the question, will electric cars eventually be the only kind of vehicles available? Time will tell. To be informed about all the happenings in the electric vehicle sector, you should, however, hit the like, subscribe, and turn on notifications buttons. Many automakers have set aggressive goals for producing electric vehicles in the upcoming years in response to the growing demand for these vehicles. BMW plans to sell 2 million electric vehicles by 2025, with the goal of having 50% of its global sales come from electric vehicles by 2030. Ford also intends for half of its car sales to come from electric vehicles by 2030. Ford aims to create 600,000 electric vehicles yearly by the end of 2023 and 270,000 macas annually in North America, Europe, and China by 2024. General Motors, another significant competitor, has pledged to sell solely zero-emission automobiles and trucks by 2035. The sales of conventional cars with internal combustion engines have decreased by 25% over the last 5 years as the trend towards electric vehicles takes traction. More people are thinking about buying an electric vehicle, EV, as the differences between gas-powered and electric vehicles' effects on the environment become more apparent. An electric vehicle transit bus's maintenance and repair expenses are 40% less than those of a vehicle with an internal combustion engine of the same size, per an Argonne National Laboratory research. Moreover, internal combustion engines lose 60% of their energy through heat and friction, making electric vehicles more energy efficient. Because of this inefficiency, gas-powered cars need a lot more energy to go the same distance as an electric car. Because they have fewer moving parts and use less oil, electric cars are not only more efficient, but also more reliable. It's crucial to remember, though, that making the switch from traditional to electric car manufacturing is a difficult undertaking for automakers because the technology involved is completely different. Last year, EV sales skyrocketed to almost 10 million units, with China leading the industry with about 60% of the total. Record-breaking sales numbers are reported in the most recent edition of the IEA's Global EV Outlook for 2023, which maintains the industry's pattern of steady growth. Global sales of electric vehicles reached over 10 million in 2022, and this year's sales are expected to rise by 35% to 14 million. With such rapid expansion, the percentage of the global automotive market that is made up of electric vehicles has increased from 4% in 2020 to 14% in 2022, and is predicted to reach 18% in 2023. The International Energy Agency, IEA, claims that electric vehicles are a key component of the developing global energy economy and are spearheading a historic shift in the global auto sector. The organization notes that these developments will have a significant impact on the world's oil consumption and that internal combustion engines, which have dominated the automotive industry for a century, are about to be challenged by electric vehicles. In addition, the IEA projects that the first wave of adoption of electric cars will be rapidly followed by electric buses and trucks. According to the IEA's preliminary forecasts, sales of electric cars, battery, and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles included surpassed 10 million units in 2022, a 55% increase over 2021. This amount is about half of all cars sold in China in the same year, and it surpasses the total number of cars sold in the entire European Union. In 2022, there were over 26 million electric vehicles on the road worldwide, a 60% increase from 2021. It is anticipated that the total cost of owning and operating an electric car would drop as battery costs decline. Additionally, as solar and wind energy sources become more economical than coal, the price of electricity is probably going to be more reasonable than that of gasoline. Investor in Tesla and stock analyst Cathie Wood highlights that automakers need to switch to making electric vehicles or else they would lose market share to EV manufacturers. She believes that while the need for oil is anticipated to decrease soon, there will be an increasing demand for electric vehicles. Another proponent of Tesla, Tony Seba, emphasizes the widespread use of electric vehicles, but warns that not all producers of internal combustion engines are able to meet the demand for electric vehicles. He underlines that making the switch to electric vehicles involves more than just producing them. It also entails addressing the environmental effects of crucial mineral extraction for electric vehicle batteries and building a reliable and easily accessible charging infrastructure. Tony Seba, an advocate of technological disruption and convergence, believes that there will be a big shift to electric cars in the next several years. It is projected that EVs will rule the automotive industry by 2030, and by 2035, government-owned car fleets will have entirely transitioned to electric vehicles. In a similar vein, by 2040, privately owned light-duty cars with internal combustion engines will be phased out and completely replaced with electric cars. In this decade and beyond, ambitious governmental initiatives like the US's Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act and the EU's Fit for 55 package are predicted to increase the market share of electric vehicles. It is predicted that by 2030, the average percentage of sales of electric vehicles in China, the EU, and the US would be approximately 60%. For now, this concludes the video. Please remember to subscribe to Tesla Stock News and give this article a thumbs up if you find it interesting.